All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting, Tuesday, October 25th. Please join me for this flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to welcome Father Chris Rumback from Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church. Good evening, Father.
Thank you very much. Let's begin with prayer. Heavenly Father, we give you praise. In the spirit of stewardship, we are grateful for the many blessings and resources you have given us, especially for the gift of our neighbor. We ask for an outpouring of your Holy Spirit upon us this evening during this council meeting. We ask that all decisions be made for the good of each one of our neighbors, as well as the common good of our community. You tell us that to whom much is given, much will be expected. Open our minds and our hearts to your promptings, that we may use the gifts you have given us for the sake of your glory. May all discussion and decisions tonight be guided by the power of your Spirit. We ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on to public input. If there's anyone who'd like to come forward and speak, please state your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Al Patel. I am here on behalf of the Indian Student Association from the Peace State University. This Saturday, we are celebrating our biggest festival in the New Year of India on Saturday at the Warman. So I am here to invite all the City Commission. I will be more than happy if you will join us this year and celebrate our New Year with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Patel, what time does it start?
Thank
What time does it start?
It will be like 5 to 8, sir.
5 to 8, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we have some Indian cuisine coming in, so it will be a great delicious food also. I will be happy, just let me know, okay? Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else? All right, moving on, we'll close public input. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there any items to be removed?
C.
Okay, item C and item D. All right. Approval of the October 11th, 2022 City Commission meeting minutes. Item B, approval of the application submitted by DG Retail LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store, number 23865, located at 1026 East 4th Street, for a 2022 cereal malt beverage license, and authorize the city clerk to issue the license. Hi, Brett. How are
Yes.
you?
What questions would you have about that?
Or there's no questions about these?
Okay.
I'd move to approve.
No
consent.
question for me.
Oh,
Hey, but thank you.
yeah.
Moved by Don, do I have a second by Stu? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes on A and B. All right, item C. Please. Item C, approval of staff request to waive the city's formal bid policy and purchase a 2017 Ford F-250 service truck from Evans Motors of Pittsburgh, Kansas, for the use by the wastewater collections division of the Public Utilities Department, utilizing the wastewater collections 2022 operating budget in the amount of $40,000, and authorize the issuance of the necessary purchase order.
Yes, sir.
My question was, Matt, sorry about that. Is this truck replacing a truck we have now?
Yes, yeah, so
What
we've got a 2004 F-550 that they've currently used as a service truck. And so it's 18-plus years old, so we had an opportunity here for this used truck. It was in great condition, priced right. So we're asking to take this truck, and then we'll take that truck and probably move it into Purple Wave auction.
I thought it might be replacing our fire truck that we're using for a service truck.
Nope, we're still using that, actually.
Are you still looking to
Yep.
have something replace that?
Yep. Yeah, no, we're still using that, actually out at our wastewater treatment plant for a service truck for our mechanic. So he can run tools and everything on it still too. So it's still a good truck for us.
I have no further questions.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Chuck, seconded by Doc. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you,
Matt.
Commission.
All right. Item D, approval of the appropriation ordinance for the period ending October 25th, 2022, subject to the release of HUD expenditures when funds are received. I will be abstaining due to conflict.
Move to approve.
Moved by Don, seconded by Stu. Or is that a roll call vote on that one, Tammy? Or is it moved to
You can just have a regular
a
vote.
regular? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4 to 0. All right, thank you. All right, consider the following. Resolution number 1257. Consider approval of Resolution 1257, calling and providing for the giving of notice of a public hearing on the advisability of creating a community improvement district in the city of Pittsburgh, Kansas, and the proposed levy of a community improvement district sales tax within such district, which is considered Pittsburgh Town Center CID.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is an action just to put, we're considering a CID. That'll be for you at a later date, but we have to have a resolution to post the hearing on November 22nd. We do have David Christie, Dominic Eck, and Kent Brown with the development team here. If you want to ask any questions, gentlemen, you drove all the way from Kansas City. Do you want to say hello?
Good evening. My name is Kent Brown, and I represent developers David Block and David Christie, who is here in the audience, who originally developed the Pittsburgh Town Center retail area on the southwest corner of Broadway and 69 Highway in your fair city. We are petitioning, as Darren said, for a public hearing on the creation of a community improvement district within a portion of the Pittsburgh Town Center, as well as a parcel across the street to the north, which are owned by the developers. I believe you have a pictorial outline to show the proposed district. And we're proposing a 7/10 of 1 cent sales tax on goods within the district, and then increasing that to 1% after the existing 3/10 of 1% from an existing transportation development district that is already in place when that rolls off in about 5 years. So that's sort of the general parameters of it. And now I would like to introduce David Christie, one of the owner developers, who'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here, David Christie. 20-some years ago, when I came to this great city to develop the Home Depot, was amazing. I got a great, warm reception. If you all remember, we tore down an old Gibson shopping center and basically removed a lot of contamination from a zinc smelter plant, just a lot of things. So that whole north end of Broadway has really changed. We apologize as developers for taking so long to find a suitable tenant to backfill this space. It's been a very difficult process trying to find a tenant that could pay a reasonable rent in a community the size of Pittsburgh. I built the same kind of project in Hays, Kansas, and TJ Maxx, Marshalls is trying to go in Hays, but we can't afford it because it's new construction. So this happens to be a benefit because we're looking at 2004 prices when the Goodies building was built. So it allows us to do a more competitive rent with Marshalls to attract them. So we're excited about bringing them. We do have a letter of intent from another national operator that wants to build next to them, which we felt like that would happen because retailers are really, it's really the herd mentality. They look at what other retailers are there and so on. So it's exciting. When I sold parcels off, I asked the different buyers of those parcels to be included in the CID once we did this. So we have, I think, 80-some% of the assessed value.
Over 60.
60% of the land value and 80% of the assessed value. Is that correct?
80% of the
Land and 60% of the assessed value, which meets you guys' ordinance standards to create a CID. So we want to thank you for considering this. We own the 7 acres in front of the Colton Steakhouse. We've called on Colton's to see if we could buy it and use it to open up our 7 acres off of Broadway. And that would probably be our plan to do that as well. So we We're glad to be back. We plan to remodel the strip center. The strip center is 15, 18 years old now. It's got some, showing some age, so we're looking forward to that. You asked me why Marshall's is getting ready to open before we've gotten all this approved. Marshall's was really on a fast track. They filled in Pittsburgh because they had other stores that they weren't able to get open for 2022. So it was a fast track lease, and they just said, we got to get going and that type of thing. And the city manager, Darren's been unbelievable about trying to fast track this, because this is not an easy process to get some type of CID approved. The Gilmore Bell attorneys have been great. Henry have been wonderful. So we're excited about this CID prospect coming before you here in a month. So would appreciate approving the ordinance to set up the date to consider the CID, and I'm happy to answer any detailed questions about the CID. It might be more appropriate at the time when we go through in detail what the CID is going to pay for and what our goals are associated with that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Would you explain again what the tax ramifications are?
It would be 0.7 of a cent. So when we built the Home Depot and the Goodies and all the rest of the restaurants, we improved 27th Street. Well, you guys help me because I've slept since then. I think it was 27th Street. So we did a TDD, which is a transportation district, and we did 0.3 of a cent. And that's 0.3 of a cent. Bonds were sold, and I think the bonds are they rolling off in about 5 years, Darren?
24, actually, so.
2024. So that 0.3 of a cent will expire, and then the CID will go to a full 1 cent. We didn't want to have more than 1 cent add-on sales tax between both incentive vehicles, if you will. And it's self-taxation, so if a patron in your city doesn't like that, they obviously have other places to shop in Pittsburgh besides there. But we just have found, Home Depot's done it basically everywhere, Target, all the retailers that are national that you all know and like, have done this to subsidize their cost to get into the location. So a good amount of this money is being used to incentivize the lease and do the improvements that Marshall has asked us to make. So we're going to write them a big check at the end of when they open, basically. And so we're excited about that. And obviously I believe they've hired a bunch of folks, and they got signs out there saying opening. So what a great win for the city of Pittsburgh and the development and the retailers that are there, because them having retailers go to the back of the center makes it so compelling for other people to shop there. And, we've had that Chinese buffet, which we've had 24 tenants that we've tried to put in there. And now we have interest from people since the Marshall's deal's done, and it's evident that it's opening. So we're just really thrilled with the opportunity to update this center and make it more attractive for the patrons of the city and the commission, because obviously people call you and say, how come that thing needs to be painted? I'm sure you guys, and I've asked Darren not to give you my cell number, so hopefully, no.
I would have to have it.
Yeah. But anyway, we're just thrilled to be here, and we got a warm reception 20 years ago when we came in here, and it was a big undertaking to deal with all that contamination and tear that shopping center down and so on, and that obviously has been a long time. But we're thrilled to be back and to bring new light to this project and hopefully jump the bypass and pick up the 7 acres that we own on the north side. And I believe that'll hopefully include the Coltons.
Home Depot still won't be included in this, right?
No, we called them and asked them, and they said, we've been paying, and they used to do it all the time, and they never complained about when they were developing where they were receiving the benefit of the subsidized parking lot, because I did a lot of depot deals. But once they've been there for a long time, they just feel like we've done what the city asked us to do, and we don't feel like we need to go further in, not that it makes them uncompetitive, 0.3 of a cent or 1 cent, it does not make them uncompetitive, but, or not competitive, but they've been, and unfortunately, all my relationships at Depot are gone. Everybody's retired, and they haven't really been building stores for 10 years. And so I just don't have anybody that I can call on and say, I really need this done. So I'm getting pretty quiet responses from them relative to doing things like this.
This at a later date, how long is this CID good for? Or before
Is it-
22.
20 years? Thank you.
22.
22?
It only goes the length of the reimbursement. So we will submit, you guys have agreed, your staff has agreed to certain costs that'll be eligible for reimbursement. And then there's a max on what we can be reimbursed. And so it only goes until we're fully reimbursed. So if that's in 12 years or 14 years, then, so the more retailers that we get in there, like I'd love to have Aldi in there. I've done host a dozen Aldi deals, and they've been in CIDs, but I can't go to them now after they've been there for 20 years and say, hey, will you join this CID? So, because, their sales are substantial, as everybody knows.
For the purpose of this meeting, I would move to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, we have a
the
move by
resolution.
Stu, seconded by Don. Thank you for explaining everything. We appreciate you
Yes,
being
ma'am.
here.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moved by Stu, seconded by Don. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. Next item, consider the following. B, Resolution 1258. Consider approval of Resolution 1258, declaring the Pittsburgh Arts District and affirming the goal of the City Commission to support and encourage events that engage the community in creative experiences and promote economic and cultural activity.
Mayor and
Jim?
Commissioners, the arts, Art Walk folks have approached me, and we've talked about it for some time, about creating something geographically defined area that we can refer to as an arts district. They've talked about it for a while, and they've kind of put a proposal together now, asked me to bring to you a resolution declaring an arts district. This is not a formal zone or anything like that. There's no legal action here. You're just declaring a particular geographic area, an arts district. There's several reasons why that you might want to consider doing that. There is potentially some grant funds available if you have a defined arts district, and there's also an impact on the artists themselves. It attracts more artists to an area that's been defined as an arts district. But I do have, the people are here to give you a presentation about, why they think it's important. And I'd like to introduce to you Krista Cunningham, who's kind of taking the lead on this, and I think she brought a posse with her, so.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, and Commissioners. My name is Krista Cunningham. I am a lifelong resident of Pittsburgh, both a dragon and a gorilla, and I'm currently the president of the Pittsburgh Art Walk Association, and I am here today joined with several other art enthusiasts to hopefully gain your support in the creation of the Pittsburgh Arts District. I think it's fair to say over the past couple of decades, art in Pittsburgh has increasingly become a positive topic of interest. And over that period, our downtown has organically transformed itself into the heart of art in Pittsburgh. Some examples being the growing popularity of the Pittsburgh Art Walk. Popularity not only shown by the attendance, obviously there's approximately about 1,000 people that I would count that show up twice a year to Pittsburgh, all from around the area. But also by the out-of-town artists that are reaching out to us that want to be a part of this because of its popularity. We also have a rapidly increasing number of public murals that are coming up. We have about 28 murals just in the downtown area. artists and allowing them to display and sell their art, in addition to hosting monthly art-related events that are open to the public. In 2019, Pittsburgh released the Economic Development Strategy that was prepared by Angelou Economics, and it suggests that to enrich the quality of place in Pittsburgh, our downtown needs to further invest in vibrancy and continue to sustain business and the community's interest. A key action in the report states to provide spaces for arts and cultural events, and we know that downtown has definitely been one of those spaces. Further on in the report, it mentions the likelihood of residents bragging about these events with their family and friends, creating a positive word of mouth for advertising for those who live outside of the city. And we may be slightly biased, but one of the best places for arts and cultural events is downtown Pittsburgh. Because a large portion of our downtown and immediate surrounding area already houses residents and businesses that believe in nurturing an already thriving culture, we believe that much of the work of establishing this district has already been done. So you're probably asking, why do anything? But we believe that by officially designating the Arts District, the city of Pittsburgh can harness the positive attention that comes from it and use it to its advantage to continue to grow and thrive, meaning that we can maintain the artistic culture that has already been established. We become a mechanism for tourism by drawing creative individuals and their families to the area, and also by giving those families a reason to stay rather than to just drive through, which then it has the potential to generate additional economic growth to help our city grow and thrive. Designating this area as the Pittsburgh Arts District was not intended to replace any of our current downtown organizations or efforts, but to pay homage to those responsible for Pittsburgh's cultural past, present, and future. And I have several slides. I believe these were included in your packet, so I won't bore you with these today. And I've touched on some of these things. So to identify where the Arts District is located, it goes as far north as Trailhead Park, and that's about where the Farmers Market is, south to Jolly Fox Brewery, east to the Frisco Event Center, and west to the Pittsburgh Public Library, and everywhere in between. At the end of this presentation, I have included a video specifically made for the Art Walk, but it does a fantastic job of highlighting a lot of the businesses within that proposed Arts District, as well as the overall excitement of the event. Enjoy. I don't think this sounds fun. All right, there was a lot of creativity in that little video. Jacob Anselmi of Creative 124 put that video together for us. One of the other creative individuals that lives in this town. So that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
You have one art walk annually?
We have two, one in the spring and one in the fall, usually April and October.
Are you planning any other events during the course of the year?
We have created a holiday art market that's scheduled for Small Business Saturday, November 26th at the Frisco Center.
I would hope that you'd have more of them.
Yeah.
Do smaller events, small fundraisers throughout the year, like the
Great.
paint and sip and.
Yeah, we had a paint and sip at Jizzlin's, and then we.
Sketch jams and, yeah.
Well, and you're spurring others, you know, with Olive Street Presents, partnering with Block 22 and having the musician in the Evergy. I mean, it's a catalyst for a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like a lot of hard work, put one of these.
Yes, it truly is, and it
How
takes a
long
village.
does it
So.
take? Like I went to the last one you had, and I don't know how you got such a nice evening. Got a little sprinkles, but then.
If there's
So
not a
how-
chance of rain on Art Walk Day, then it's not.
Right,
a big
then
Art
it's
Walk
not a
Day.
big one day.
I'm sure you probably started planning for the next one at the
Yes.
end of that.
Yes.
So,
Yep, we've already got dates set, special event permits, and we've already got ideas from the last one that we're
Good.
starting to discuss already, so.
2 is definitely not enough.
We've discussed that too, but I don't know if we
We're
can handle
recruiting.
more.
So have you seen a positive impact on common consumption? Are you guys using that for?
Yes, we have common consumption open. We have a great relationship with the city of Pittsburgh, the police department. We haven't received any complaints for the past, I think it's been 4 events that we've had it. We haven't had any problems, and it seems to go over pretty well. Also, with the bars, they seem pretty happy with the amount of foot traffic that comes in, just for that reason.
Anyone else?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
I would approve resolution number 1258.
I'd second it.
Moved by Don, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
See you. Thank you so much. All right, item C, 2022 auditing contract. Consider staff requests to engage the firm of Burbridge, Tran and Company, PA, for the fiscal year 2022 city audit at a cost of $41,000. Good evening, Larissa.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Burbridge and Trahan have been our city auditors for the past 2 years. The contract tonight is for the 2022 fiscal year, and they're planning on, if approved tonight, being on site at the end of November to start their preliminary work. They kind of just start doing audit samples of payroll and accounts payable, and then they come back in March for a full 2 weeks, 1 week on site, kind of 1 week just working with staff with requests. So tonight, we are just asking for approval of this contract.
Was the contract amount changed from last year?
It went up $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah. We went out for bid in 2019. I think we had about 5 people submit proposals, and theirs does have a $1,000 increment each year for the 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So,
For each year, you said?
yes, for each year.
Move to approve.
Okay, got a motion for Don,
I'd second it.
seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you for your
Thank you,
presentation.
appreciate it.
All right, item D, disposition of bids, 2022 sanitary sewer lining project, line 7B. Consider staff recommendation to award the bid of the 2022 sanitary sewer lining project to the low bidder, TriStar Utilities Incorporated of Independence, Kansas, based on their low bid of $889,416.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
I brought the show and tell, I can't remember how many times I've brought it, but in case no one's seen that before. So previous this year, we asked for you to let us engage a contract with Earl's Engineering for design and engineering of sewer rehab project this year. And so we put that together, we went out to bid. We did divide the bid into a base and a couple of alternates because we weren't real sure on the market. We direct solicited about 7 bidders. We did get 2 bids in. A lot of that, from what we can tell, just came into the current market conditions for timing, personnel, and different things. So this project, what we're going for tonight is to go ahead and ask for award of the total base bid and alternates for this project. This project is basically from the Renew, it's right behind the Renew Medical Spa and Centennial, going north, paralleling East Cow Creek, up to there just short of Quincy Street, about 4,400 feet. We continue this, that is made up of old clay lines. They were put in somewhere late 60s, early 70s. These set in a low-lying area along Cow Creek, so we are trying to improve that to stop that I&I, that inflow and intrusion into our sewer system, because that line does have to go to the southeast lift station, so it'll be pumped from there to the wastewater treatment facility, then pumped again once it's in that facility. So there's some savings in there. In previous years, we kind of build some of these up over a couple of years. Previous years, we did the same thing along Taylor Branch from Hortons going north along through that low area. We lined a lot of that sewer going north through there. So this is a combination of 2 years of operating budget. We've kind of been planning. We knew it was going to be a big project, and so tonight we're asking for your award of the base and the alternates to TriStar out of Independence, Kansas.
What's the total length? You said from Centennial all the way to Quincy?
It's roughly 4,400 feet.
4,400.
What, in the bid area, I saw, what is alternate, add alternate one, add alternate two? What does that mean?
So we divided, so if you look at the map, what you can see of the map, so our starting point and our ending point, we had done a base bid to just do the creek crossings at first as part of the base bid to handle those initially, and then we divided up the other segments of that as alternates. So we were trying to get the worst of the worst first, and then if we could afford it, go ahead and do the whole project.
So both of those lines going on the top of the Y are our project.
Yeah, if you follow my arrow right there, that's our project. That's Centennial right there, approximately behind Renewed Day Spa, and it runs up. That's East Cow Creek as it runs through
Right.
there, and we go up to
Okay.
right to where the arrow is.
Matt, how did the prices from the last time we did one compare to this? Have you looked at that?
They're about doubled. I mean, it's been 4 years since we've done one, but they're pretty much doubled.
How long does it take to do that, Matt?
So this project itself, we're gonna ask for award tonight. They will not get a notice to proceed until after the first of the year. In early spring, they give us a contract estimated days of about 100 days. Obviously, because of where this is, it will get a little, kind of depends on whether we're dry or whether we're wet. Obviously, if we get a ton of rain over the winter, that's gonna be, we'll have to kind of wait for some dry conditions so we don't bury equipment getting out through there. There will be some level of bypass pumping from manholes as they set the lining material in place, so.
Is that's the lining material?
That is the lining material, so yeah.
So they
that's
blow it in and it hardens, is that
Mhm,
it?
it's a resin type of pack, and it kind of blows in inverted, and then they pull back and its steam sets up. Yep.
So
And then we'll do the manholes as well.
while you're doing that project, that line is not in use?
It will be in use,
We
yeah.
can have it?
Yep, it will be in use, yeah, we're not able to shut it down, but we'll have to pump around, we'll have to pump past that manhole line that we're doing, we'll plug and pump past, so.
Okay, I move to
Cool process.
accept.
Yeah. All right, we have a motion by Doc.
Second.
Seconded by Stu. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Matt. Get her going. Thank
Good
you.
job, Matt.
Appreciate your presentation. All right. Non-agenda reports and requests. Darren, do you have anything?
Nope.
I'd just like to figure out where we're at on the delayed, the second phase of the wage increase for the 107 employees. I just wonder if we can take that back up now, or how we need to proceed on that.
Does it need to be an agenda item, Darren?
Nope.
I feel like, unless there's other questions that have come out of the presentation material that we saw, was it January or April, whenever it was, and I think Tammy sent that back out to us. If there's no other questions, I would move that we would approve
I
that
have a-
second phase.
I have a question. My understanding when we started this the company came down and discussed with Darren and who else was involved, our department heads, on how to come up with a pay for each department. My concerns are with the fire chief resigning, how is that going to affect the fire department pay-wise? Because I know with the number of people that's left, there've been 5 battalion chiefs left in a short period of time. And there's not been pay. Some drivers got paid, some didn't. I just wonder, will we go with his recommendation, or when we get a new chief, will that be looked at by the new fire chief on the pay for fire department and personnel?
Whose recommendation?
The fire chief. I get, they discussed, wasn't it with our last fire chief on his thoughts?
I don't think I understand your question.
Well, I mean, we had a fire chief that was involved in setting up the pay for the fire department. He's now gone. When we get a new chief, will he have any input on maybe some things that he wants changed, or change the whole system, or we just go with a fire chief that helped set up the system that we've lost 20 firefighters during his administration?
You need to be careful, Chuck, with how you word things, please.
I was just asking a question.
I know,
Dawn.
but I think you know what I mean.
So here's
No,
how
I
the,
don't, Dawn. I really don't.
so the city has one pay system. We don't do it by department. We struggle with that because we have departments that do, unlike most businesses, we do vastly different things from department to department. But you all each year adopt a pay plan that sets the compensation ranges for all of the different jobs. Every department head, including the fire chief, has input into what that is. This year, when we did the pay study, we did the same thing, whether it was utilities, police, fire, or administration. We all weighed in on the plan, but the plan is a comprehensive plan. It doesn't look at departments. It looks at the overall, I think there's 5 different categories, and everybody, whatever department head, falls within those. So to the extent, if you're asking me if the new fire chief is going to have input on on any new pay plan, absolutely. Beyond that, I don't know that I have anything else I don't know how else to answer that. I'm sorry.
So a new pay plan would be part of an ongoing process as an organization to look at our ranges for our different positions.
You approved a new pay plan last meeting.
Yeah.
And you do that every year, annually, at the end of every year.
So where are we now?
I moved that we accept the.
Second?
Okay.
So the motion is to accept phase 2 of the wage increase or pay study.
As
Phase 2 of
present-
pay study.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so moved by Stu, seconded by Doc. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for the 107 people that waited a couple weeks for us to make sure we were understanding this clearly, so.
Well, and more importantly, or just as important, thank you to the commission for allowing us to, A, go through the process of a pay plan, which is usually very difficult for any governing body to do, and you gave us the approval to do that, and we did get through it, and I think, in general, we can say confidently that the average pay will go up about 10.2% per employee, and with inflation and everything else, I can, on behalf of the employees, thank you for allowing us to move forward and keep up pace so we can continue to provide the great services but feel good about doing it. It's important.
Was it unanimous? I didn't, did you vote for it? Was it unanimous?
Yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay.
Tammy?
You want a
I
roll
was just-
call? Or do you-
No,
Yeah,
I just-
I want a
didn't-
roll call.
I didn't hear, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
Brooks?
Yes?
Height?
Yes.
McNay?
Yes.
Munsell?
Yes.
Sigley?
Yes.
I just question why, on some votes, some of us don't vote, So I don't know if we need to have a roll call every time or on everything or.
No, I just was looking at you and I didn't hear you say yes, so I was just clarifying for myself. But I am confused, and I guess I would like Cheryl and Chuck to help me understand. You didn't vote for the ordinance, and that was a result, the pay wages or the ranges were a result of not only what we just did, but what we approved earlier in the year. And also by not approving this, you didn't approve the 2% cost of living or the merit increase. So I need help understanding why, on one hand, you're acknowledging that we need to do something with wages, but on the other hand, when it comes to actual infrastructure to do that, you voted no.
I didn't vote no against that, Dawn. I voted, and you know, I told you last year that I vote against a section of that ordinance that allows the city manager to give out raises to employees during the year. Some of those raises are raises other employees are not privy to. Some of them are 10, 12% on top of the 2%. So that's why I voted against that. I don't agree with that, so that's why I voted against it.
Cheryl?
Well, for one, you're polling us, and I just want to say something here without any interruption. We're dealing with people's pay, and it's a big deal.
Right.
In order for me to make sure I'm making the right decision about each and every one of the people that works for the city of Pittsburgh, I want to understand it. And I understand that they've done a lot of work, Kim and Larissa and their crew, but I still want to understand it. We were not a part of that process. We were given the information at the, when it was time to have a commission meeting. So I asked for more information. I wanted to know more about it. I have no problem with that. So,
Okay.
I'm making a decision that's going to affect every one of their lives.
Right.
But Cheryl, we got that information in January. I mean, how many times did any of us ask the city manager for clarification on that? That's my point, is why do we have to delay it 2 weeks when we knew it was coming? I think that's Dawn's point, that's my point too.
Because some people want to do that. They want to study it
And that's
closer.
fine, but I mean, we've
That's
had
our
it for a
privilege.
year, Doc. I mean,
What?
we've had it for 10 months.
It doesn't make any difference. We can delay it 12 months if we so choose.
Okay.
It was 2 weeks to study it more closely and have some other input from other places.
Okay.
My point was, I just think that the citizens and our employees need to understand our votes, yes or no, and there was no
Then
explanation.
every time we have a vote about anything, we need to explain why we're voting the way we do.
Well, I think when you vote no to salary ordinance, that our staff should expect a why, and you just gave it, which is fine. I
And I did
appreciate
it
you
last
answering.
year, and I guarantee you, Dawn, employees know why I vote against it.
I bet you're right,
Thank you.
so.
Anything else?
I do. I have a concern that I would like to bring up about our growing practice and process for executive session. And I guess just to point out maybe why you give my concern some credence. This is my 21st year as an elected official, 21st year. I've been around.
Congratulations.
Yeah, crazy. I've been around the block a few times on executive session. And we have competent professionals whose job is to make sure that our operations are legal, and that includes the commission. And I just feel that it should be a non-negotiable expectation of us that anytime a commissioner would like an executive session, it is vetted by either the city manager and/or the city attorney. That should be non-negotiable. I recognize that sometimes after the agenda is issued to our meeting, that there might be a need for an executive session. But in most cases, our executive session should be on the agenda. It's not only a respect for our time, so we understand what the meeting is, but it's respectful for everyone's time. And most importantly, it's transparency to our citizens. And I think we all agree that that's important. And there is I've heard a growing concern that the fact that there is we have a growing frequency of executive sessions that haven't had in the past, the numbers, that it is apparent to those watching us that the city manager, the city attorney do not know that executive session, and it's apparent to some of us that we are giving the appearance that we're doing the city's business behind closed doors. And that's not what's going on, but that's because of those conditions, that's what some people are thinking. You know, there's really only been one time where we needed an executive session before the meeting, and that was when we needed to confer with our city attorney on a legal letter that we got. Otherwise, our executive session should be at the end of the meetings. It's respectful to our staff and guests that are here so that they're not sitting and waiting for us to get through an executive session. So vetting the executive session with our city manager and our city attorney, putting it on the agenda and scheduling at the end of the business, that's just good government. And I would hope that you would share my desire for that. And I just think, I think we need to do better moving forward with executive sessions.
Mr. Solicitor,
Mr. Solicitor.
what are the rules and regulations for this executive session?
Just a motion and a second that complies with the statutory procedure.
Which I did.
Yes.
But I don't think we can just take a paragraph out of the handbook
Yes, you can. That's what the handbook's for.
by one of us without vetting it on legal counsel. That's my
Nowhere does it
point.
state that.
It's good government.
Well, maybe,
Other people around, like the county and other places, they have executive sessions all the time, and
That's
it's
be-
not a big deal.
That's because they're doing personnel.
They don't have,
But
our form
everyone-
of government is, we have a city manager form of government. So that's why they do things differently than we do, because the personnel matters should be taken care of by the department heads and the city manager. And, you know, only in extreme situations, I would think would we get involved. So, I hear your point, you're right about a county government, but they don't have a county manager to take care of those issues. So they do have to take up matters, you know, out of the meeting in executive session. But I agree, I don't think it looks transparent, I don't think it looks, you know, it's just, I hope we're not falling into that habit of maybe not taking these matters up with the city manager in our one-on-one meetings every week, that he makes available to all of us. You know, I think we have a pretty good understanding of things that are going on, and then we come together as a governing body to make those final decisions. So I hope that we're taking advantage of those one-on-one meetings with the city manager, whose door's always been open since I've been elected almost a year ago, and any of the department heads as well. So I agree with Don. Last meeting seemed a little, two different ones seemed a little excessive, but, I agree that, just like Henry said, and agreed with you, yes, you can ask for it, but, let's just, let's use it with,
Well,
do our due diligence with it.
I have a comment. I've been a commissioner for 9 years now, and I agree with you, Don. Executive sessions were at the end of the meeting and on the agenda. But it seems that you're pointing out that certain commissioners can follow the rules and certain, no, let me back up. You're trying to scold a commissioner for not having something on the agenda. But then when Stu did it, at the start of the meeting, not at the end of the meeting, it wasn't on the agenda for any of us to even know there was going to be an executive session, that seemed to be all right.
If you recall the topic, it needed to happen that way.
Well, I think sometimes, and I think the executive sessions that we've had recently was very good and informative. It gave us all a chance to hear some important issues at the same time. Everyone was on the same page, and I don't see a problem with it, especially since we're following the League of Municipality guideline when we do it.
So I guess I would just focus on transparency. If we're gonna have executive sessions, they need to be on the agenda. And if it's between the time the agenda goes out and our meeting, we should at least be notified from Tammy or someone that there's gonna be an executive session.
Nowhere in this book does it state that. Every one of the executive sessions that I've called, that you have inquired about every single time, have been good. Everything about them has been good. And even behind closed doors, we've had great discussion. And I felt that it was necessary. And if any one of you guys wanted an executive session, it's open. It's not a big deal. And executive sessions are not taboo, and you're making it be
No,
that
I'm-
way. You're
no.
putting it into people's head that we're doing something behind closed doors, that it's not transparent. Just because you say that I haven't talked to either one of them, I don't need their permission to call an executive session if the five of us agree or disagree about it. If we disagreed, it would have not have happened. But we've had great discussion behind closed doors, and there's times that I felt like that I wanted to make sure that we had all heard the same thing or not. So I'm just, I don't know that, why there's a problem always. Is it just because I've done it?
No.
Because,
No.
I mean, just because we haven't done them that much in the past doesn't mean anything.
It's the process. It's transparent government.
Transparent, I've been all about that.
Well, but they're not on the agenda. They're not transparent to anyone but you, because we haven't been notified that that's what you have wanted.
Okay.
They've not been on the agenda.
Stu's wasn't on the agenda?
You know exactly why it wasn't on the
Yeah,
agenda.
if-
And it was vetted with the city attorney,
Well, that's great that you
Prior to,
talked to the
so-
city attorney prior to.
which is what
But
we
there's
should
nowhere that
utilize them
states
for.
that I have to do that. And I did.
No, it's just
I
good
called for
practice
them.
though, to counsel, to
I'm not doing
to-
anything wrong.
to accept
I
counsel with
didn't
our
say,
attorney.
I didn't,
You are implying that I've done something
No,
wrong.
I'm not.
And
Not
yes, you are.
what
I'm not implying. What I'm asking for is for us to do better in terms.
I know who I work for. I work for the people.
Well, the people need to know what we're doing.
Yes, they,
We're all, five of us, we all have a different opinion on this. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. So why can't we just move on? Do we discuss this long enough? I think, when somebody wants to call an executive session, if they go by the handbook. Don, I just want to say this, when you was mayor, and I didn't see this in the handbook either, that there were times that if we were gonna have an executive session, the person that wanted it was told they had to ask you for permission. Where's that in the book?
it's not.
Had to ask the mayor. I didn't see that anywhere in the book.
The,
And
Okay.
you solely decided if we was gonna have one or not.
what I did,
And the mayor holds no more power than any other commissioner. You're just here to, share the meeting. So,
yep.
that's all I got to say on it. I think we're doing it right, and I'd like to see it continue. When there's a need, we will do it.
All right.
Call
Do I
for
have
adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I
Motion by
second it.
Doc, seconded by Chuck. All those in favor? Aye.
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 We're adjourned.